10 days ago, OpenAI deleted the difference between ChatGPT and Codex. They're not two apps anymore. They're two modes in the same window, same subscription, same models, and one of them can open your files and run your code, while the other one can only talk about it. Which raises an awkward question. If it's the same model in both, why can only one of them actually fix your bug? It's not that one is smarter. I'll show you the exact moment the difference appears on screen, and you already have it on the free plan, which almost nobody watching this knows. On the 9th of July, the standalone Codex app merged into the ChatGPT desktop app on Mac and Windows. The old app got renamed ChatGPT Classic. So now there are three modes: chat, which you know, work, and codex, and they run side by side in the same window. That's the part most people miss. You can leave codex working on your project and keep an ordinary chat open right next to it, asking it to explain a concept, checking your understanding without interrupting the work or switching apps. The part that matters for you, all three are on every plan, including free, globally. And if you're in India, there's a good chance you're on ChatGPT. Go for free right now. OpenAI ran a promotion giving 12 free months to eligible users who signed up from November. 12 months from when you enrolled, so check your own date. So if you've been putting this off because you assumed it was a $20 a month developer tool, it isn't, and it hasn't been for a while. One more thing before the good part, because this trips up half of you. If your syllabus mentions Codex, it probably means the 2021 model that powered early Copilot. Different thing, same name, unrelated product. Everything in this video is the 2026 agent. So, same model family in both modes, the GPT 5.6 family. The difference is what it's allowed to touch. A chatbot has one move: you give it text, it gives you text back. However clever that text is, the loop ends there. It cannot know whether it was right. An agent has a second move. It acts, and then it sees what happened, runs the test, reads the traceback, notices it was wrong, tries again. That's the whole thing. Agent doesn't mean longer code. It doesn't mean smarter. It means it can observe the consequence of its own action. Think of it like this: chat mode is a brilliant final year senior who's phoned you from outside the lab. They can tell you exactly what to type. They cannot touch your keyboard and they can't see your screen. They only know what you told them. Codex is that same senior sitting at your machine with your permission, opening the file, running the code, seeing the red error you forgot to mention. Same brain, different access. Everything else follows from that, which should immediately worry you slightly. Something that can run commands on your laptop is a different risk from something that writes text. OpenAI clearly thought so too, because there are two separate controls: sandbox modes, three of them: read only, where it can look but not touch; workspace write, which is the default, where it can edit inside your project folder but not outside it; and dangerful access, which is named that for a reason. And separately, approval policies, untrusted, on request, the default, and never. Think of them as interns. Read only is an intern who can read the code base but not commit. Workspace write is an intern with commit access to one repo. Full access is handing over your root password. Most people should stay in the middle, and the defaults already put you there. That pause, where it asks, is the thing to pay attention to. It's not a formality, it's the moment you're supposed to actually read what it's about to run. Three features worth knowing, and I'm going to name them precisely because most videos on this get the names wrong. Skills, a reusable workflow, instructions, plus the supporting files, templates, schemas. You build one conversationally, then call it with a dollar sign inside Codex. Dollar sign, map repo, clone this repository, trace what happens when a user logs in, and give me the file by file path. That one is genuinely the best thing on this list for a student. Understanding an unfamiliar code base is the single hardest part of your first internship, your first open source contribution, and every group project where someone else wrote the backend. Goals. The command is /goal. You give it one durable objective, and it works toward it across many turns instead of forgetting between messages. You can pause it, resume it, clear it. /goal, migrate every class component in SRC to hooks, done when npm test passes. Schedule tasks, recurring work that runs in the background unattended. One warning on that, and it's a real one. Schedule tasks run with your default sandbox settings. So if you've loosened those, you've loosened them for something running while you're asleep. There's also a memory system. Files it keeps under your Codex folder, generated from previous chats, with secrets stripped out. It carries context forward. It is not a personality file, and you're not meant to hand edit it. Now, the demo that makes the whole thing obvious. One project, one failing test, same window, same subscription, same question, typed twice. Why does test auth fail? Chat mode gives me a good answer. Genuinely good. Three plausible reasons, ranked. But look at what it's doing. It's reasoning about a snippet I chose to show it. It doesn't know which of the three is true. It can't. Codex asks permission to run the test suite. I approve. It runs p-test. And now watch. This is the bit that doesn't exist in the other mode. It read the actual traceback. Not my description of the problem, the real one. Then it opened the file, made the change, ran the test again, and watched it pass. Three of those steps are impossible for a chatbot. Not hard. Impossible. There is no prompt that makes chat mode see your terminal. That's the answer to the question I opened with. It isn't smarter, it can just see. Which brings me to the thing I'd actually tell you to learn. If you only take one item from this video, it's a file, AGENTS.md, capital letters, sitting in your project root. Codex reads it before it does any work. It walks from your Git root down to wherever you're working, and files closer to your code win over files further up. Put your project's rules in it, which test command to use, which folders not to touch, which style to follow. Always run pnpm test, never npm, never modify anything in legacy. Use async await, not promise chains. 30 seconds of setup and it stops making the same mistake forever. But here's the actual reason I'm ending on this one. Agents.md isn't an OpenAI feature anymore. It's an open standard under a Linux Foundation fund, and Cursor, Copilot, Gemini CLI, and Windsurf read it too. So, it's the rare thing in this space that isn't a bet on one company. You learn the file once, and it keeps working when you switch tools, which, in this field, you will. Four things I'd want to know before relying on this. 1. It doesn't browse the live web by default. Inside local codex chats, search runs against a cached index that OpenAI maintains, not arbitrary live pages, deliberately to reduce the risk of a malicious page injecting instructions into your agent. Their own docs say to treat all web results as untrusted input. 2. Limits aren't message counts. Since April, it bills against token credits on a 5-hour rolling window. One large refactor can burn more than 50 small conversations. which surprises people who've budgeted by counting messages. 3. It is confidently wrong sometimes, and now it's confidently wrong with file access. The approval prompts are not decoration. Read the command before you approve it. 4. And this one is about you rather than the tool. If Codex writes your assignment, you cannot defend your assignment. And that is a much smaller problem in a submission than it is in a placement interview 6 months later when somebody asks you to explain a design decision you never made. Check your own institution's rules. They vary a lot and they're changing. But the practical line is the same one that always applied. Use it on work you're not being assessed on, or use it in a way that leaves you understanding the result. So quickly, Codex isn't a separate product anymore. It's a mode in the ChatGPT app since the 9th of July on every plan, including free. It's not a smarter model, it's the same model with permission to touch your files and run your commands and to see what happened afterwards. Sandbox and approval modes decide how much rope it gets. The defaults are sensible. Scheduled tasks inherit them, so don't loosen them casually. Skills for repeatable workflows, slash goal for one long objective, AGENTS.md for project rules. And that last one transfers to every other tool in the category. If you want one thing to do today, open the ChatGPT desktop app, switch to Codex mode, point it at any project you've already written, and ask it to explain what your own code does. Not to change anything, just to explain it. It's the safest possible first run. And watching it read your files instead of guessing is the moment this stops being abstract. Then tell me in the comments what you pointed it at and what it got wrong about your own code, because it will get something wrong. And that's the useful